Now, the Second Amendment, another amendment that all of you are familiar with and you fight for all you can all the time. A well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, there have been, under Supreme Court law and through the legislature, what happens is the legislature, Congress, will pass laws, states will pass laws, and somebody will challenge their constitutionality under the Second Amendment, and then there will be tested to whether or not they in fact actually do that, or are there a reasonable and necessary exercise of the government power, and whether or not they, according to constitutional standards, that they're okay. Now, one thing, or a couple things I want to stress here. A well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of the free state. You know, militias are allowed in this country. But of course, they get attacked. It's so funny that some of the exact same things that went on in 1775 and earlier, leading up to the American Revolution, which really began in 1775. People forget that. It began before 1776, the Declaration of Independence. Lexington and Concord had already happened. Is the fact that some of these things that we had before then, they mess with now. In other words, speaking out against our government for infringing upon our liberties, they come after you. Well, that's something that's, you know, we need to always make sure that we protect, is our right to speak up against our government. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Well, they have infringed upon our rights over and over again, have they not? And you've had Supreme Courts uphold those infringements, and sometimes they knock them down. But that battle goes on every day. By the way, there was recently, I think it was a Saturday night, a little gathering of gun rights folks. You know, one of the things that bothers me about some groups is they state the obvious. And what I mean by that is this. I am 1,000% gun rights. But I just want you to know, who in the state of Kentucky, when you think about it, doesn't recognize that we do not have the Second Amendment? I guess the issue becomes in some of the details. There are people, for example, that want to go all the way back prior to federal law that was passed in the 1930s that restricted guns' rights. I can tell you this, in my personal opinion, on gun rights, I'm not for red flag laws. I'm one of those people that think bad guys are going to get guns. We shouldn't infringe on the good guys getting guns, whatever type of guns and everything they might be. For example, there's lots of restrictions on silencers. There's restrictions on bump stocks and all of those. Well, we all know the bad guys get them, right?